Welcome to Instrument Fundamentals for the Clarinet, Video 3. As you can see, we're here in the band room at Garrett Morgan School of Science. My name is Mr. Skanes. Today we're going to review how to form the embouchure and produce a sound on the clarinet. Then we're going to learn our first 8 notes, and then we're going to cover how to clean the instrument and store it. So again, to form the embouchure, you want to stretch the bottom lip over the bottom teeth, corners tight. We're going to place the clarinet in the mouth about a ½ inch in on the mouthpiece. We're going to put the teeth on top and then close our mouth around the mouthpiece. And then we'll be ready to push air through to produce a tone. And in the last video we talked about producing an open G. That's no fingers down, no buttons down. So form the embouchure, place the instrument, breathe, and push. So that's our open G. On the music staff, it's the second line on the treble clef. But when we go to learn the 8-note scale that we're going to be playing in band, we will actually use a lower G, which is 2 ledger lines below the staff. So our 8 basic notes, which form the concert B-flat scale, which is actually a C scale for the clarinet. The first note, C. It's the first ledger line below the staff on the line. We're going to put our thumb on the back, and then we're going to cover up the 3 holes on top with our index, middle, and ring fingers. We don't want to place a finger on top of this key here. It's activated by pressing down this ring. So thumb, 1, 2, 3, with the left hand. Make sure the right hand is on the bottom. So cover the holes real well. Place the instrument in your mouth. That's our C. We can move to the next note, D, by simply lifting a finger up. So I just have 1, 2 down and the thumb. We'll move to the E, the next note in our scale, which is on the bottom line, by keeping the thumb down and the top index finger down. The next note, F, in the bottom space, we'll lift another finger, so all we have left is the thumb. Now we'll move to the low G, which can be tricky. Now this is, again, the G 2 ledger lines below the staff. We're going to need thumb, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in the bottom as well. You can go ahead and try. Now, if for some reason the sound didn't come out or it squeaked, this can be because there is a leak somewhere. We're not getting the holes covered all the way. Now there's a couple tricks you can use to figure out where the problem is. The first one you can do by pressing down on the keys really hard, and then if you pull the hands off the instrument, you'll be able to see the rings from the holes on the instrument. Same thing with the right hand. Press down hard, check to make sure the rings are on your fingers. That's one way to try and diagnose the problem. Another thing you can do is start your C. If you were successful there, go ahead and play your C. That's thumb 1, 2, 3. And then bring down 1 finger at a time till you get all 3 fingers down in the right hand. And that's a simple way of also diagnosing the problem. Again, if the sound isn't coming out or there's a squeak, that's a good way to diagnose the problem. You may have to go all the way back to open G and then use a thumb and go all the way down the instrument. And again, by putting down 1 finger at a time will help you find where the problem is. So, back to our scale. We have our low G, where we left off. Then to the A, which is on the second ledger line below the staff. We're going to pick up a finger. So we have 1, 2 on the right, thumb 1, 2, 3 on the left. Then to the B, which is below the first ledger line, we're going to pick up the index in the right hand and just leave that middle finger down. Again, not changing anything in the left. And then back to where you started by simply taking the middle finger off in the right hand. Takes us back to our C on the first ledger line below the staff. So I'm going to perform the whole 8-note scale for you now. I will raise up the fingers very clearly so you can see them. But as a beginning clarinet player, you will want to keep the fingers as close as possible. So when you go to put them back down, you won't misfire and have a leak somewhere. And then it's very advantageous to keep the fingers close to the instrument. You'll see me lifting them way off. That's only for the purposes of demonstrating what the fingering is and which fingers come off or on the instrument. So the scale, our concert B-flat scale, which is a C scale for the clarinet, we're going to go up by step 4 notes. And then we're going to drop down to the low G and move up 4 notes again. So here it is. That's our 8-note scale. So, now, cleaning the instrument. Very simple. I put my reed away. So take the reed off before it gets damaged. First thing you want to do. I take the mouthpiece off and just shake it out. I don't try and pull a swab through the mouthpiece. Then you're going to want to take your swab. It should have a weight on the end of it and a piece of chamois on the other end. If you'll turn your instrument upside down, drop the weight down in the clarinet, it'll come out the other end. And we're simply going to pull it through the instrument 3 times. Should dry the instrument out inside. That's 1. And I have to cut off the end to the string on that bead so it doesn't get hung up on the inside. Twice, and we'll call that 3 times so we can move on for purposes of the video. And then simply take the instrument apart in the opposite order that you put it together. So barrel, middle joint, remember to hold down these keys. Grab around the pads, not across the rod. Little twist to take it apart. And then be careful when you're taking the bell off the lower joint. The tendency is to pull away from the instrument, which can crack the tenon here. And that we definitely don't want to crack that by pulling away. So when you're taking off the bell, make sure you twist it straight off. And then when you're placing the parts in the case, make sure they fit in there properly. And when you close the lid, make sure there's nothing hindering the lid from closing. Otherwise, you know, maybe one of the pieces is in the case incorrectly. That should be a sign to go to check it before you try and force something to close. And that's it for our instrument fundamental videos for the clarinet. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in class. I'm more than happy to help you.